Welcome to ABC Interactive English. I'm Matt.
And I'm Sam.
Today we are looking at part 2 of our story called The Nail. So in this story, the merchant is kind of ignoring this problem that his horse has a shoe with a missing nail.
Yes.
He says it's no problem, but the workers seemed to think it was a problem, and I think it's probably something you could just get fixed.
Yeah, it seems like it's a small thing that wouldn't take that much time to fix, but could maybe turn into something not so small later on if you don't kind of handle it now.
Right.
And I think that so far this is something that probably a lot of people have encountered in their life. I can think of one example. I had a friend who had a little bit of a toothache and was thinking, oh, it kind of hurts, but it's not so bad. And they waited a while and waited a while and waited a while. And then all of a sudden, they woke up and it was really, really painful. And they had to go to the emergency dentist and their whole tooth had to get pulled out. And the dentist said had they come maybe a month or so earlier when it was just a little hole, they could have fixed it before it turned into a really bad problem and they had to pull the whole tooth out. And so she likes to remind us of that story to remember to take care of our teeth. But I think it's a little similar to this, where it started as something small that she just ignored and turned into something a little bit bigger.
So it's important to take care of small problems before they turn into something bigger, maybe.
Yeah, so I guess we'll see what happens next, because I don't know what's going to happen if they don't replace the nail, but it seems like that's where this story is headed, that there could be something kind of happening that is like not a good idea to not replace the nail. So,
well, we'll find out in part 2.
The merchant continued to ride toward his home. Then, in the afternoon, he stopped at another town and rested. He also had someone feed his horse.
all right, so we are at part 2 of our story, The Nail. So again, in the first part, we have a merchant. He sold a lot of goods. He has a lot of money now, and he is riding home and wants to be home before dark. He took one break at noon, and a worker said, hey, your horse is missing a nail from its horseshoe. And he said, it's fine. And now we are at the continuation of the story.
Yep, he said he only has 6 more miles to go to get home, so let's see if he can make it. The merchant continued to ride toward his home. Okay, so he's continuing, he's going to keep going, he's not bothered to stop about this problem, he's continuing to ride and he's going toward his home. So toward is a preposition and it means in the direction of something. So if you're going toward your home, you are going in the direction that your home is in. If, for example, the MRT train is going toward Taipei City Hall, that means that that is the direction it's going. It is traveling from wherever you are at that point to Taipei City Hall.
Yes, and so then if we continue with our story, it says, then in the afternoon, he stopped at another town and rested. He also had someone feed his horse. So he's taking another quick break, and while he's taking his break, he's letting another worker come and take his horse and feed his horse and give his horse a rest also. So at this time, there is someone who is feeding the horse, and feed is a verb that just means to give food to something. You see this a lot if you have pets. You will say you need to feed your cat or feed your dog or feed your bird. Don't forget to feed your fish. So it means to give them food. You can also feed your family by putting food on the table, but you also could literally feed your baby by taking your spoon and helping them actually eat. So there's a few different ways to kind of use this word, but it all means giving something food or letting them have something to eat.
Now, I'm a little bit surprised because I thought this merchant was in a hurry to get home, and yet this is the second time that we know about that he is taking a break and, I don't know, getting some food, relaxing, and he only had 6 more miles to go. I wouldn't think that it would take that long to go 6 miles, that he would need one more break.
Yes, I kind of agree. I would think that he would already be home by now because he started at noon and now we're in the afternoon. That's at least a couple hours. I would have thought they could go 6 miles in a couple hours, but...
Well, I guess it's a fairly slow horse, not the fastest horse you've ever ridden, but I guess he's still continuing home, so he should get there soon, I hope. But we're going to go to Tina now.
Hi, I'm Tina. 今天我们要继续来看一下钉子这则关于马蹄铁的寓言故事。那我们先来看看刚刚课文里提到的2个单字 toward 介系词朝着迈向。Ben walked toward the park with his dog. Ben 跟他的狗朝着公园走去。feed 动词喂，它的3态是 feed, fed, fed. I feed my dog every morning. 我每天早上喂我的狗。接着我们回到课文当中。
All right, so in this part of the story, we now have him in another town, taking another break. So I wonder what exactly he might get up to in this town. I thought he was in a hurry, but he's, checking out a new place.
Yes, but he does have another worker feeding his horse, which is what happened in the first town. So maybe that worker is going to come back and tell him something, but we will have to go to the second part of the story to see what does he say.
Later, the worker came and found him. He told the merchant, "Sir, your horse lost a shoe. Shall I take him to the blacksmith?" The merchant answered, "Leave it alone. I only have a couple of miles left, and the horse can manage that. I'm in a hurry." A while later, he got on his horse and rode away.
Okay, so we are back, and we had just had our merchant taking a break. His horse is getting fed. Somebody is actually feeding the horse. So there is a worker that is working in this little town, in this rest area. So let's see what happens next.
All right. Later, the worker came and found him. So the worker came and found the merchant. So here we have a word later. Later just means at a time in the future. So at a time that is not now, but it's after now. It's sometime after the present. So in this case, well, it becomes the present in a story because we're just moving on to a later time. So this is an adverb, and you can use it anytime to say, I don't want to do that now. I'll do it later. And that's, I think, what the merchant has been saying about the horse.
Yes, that sounds like kind of his philosophy is do that later, because he's trying to be quick. So then as we continue on with our story, it says, he told the merchant, he being the worker who was helping with the horse, he told the merchant, "Sir, your horse lost a shoe. Shall I take him to the blacksmith?" So now that before we were just missing one nail, now the entire horse shoe that was put on the bottom of the hoof has fallen off, and so there is no shoe on one of the horse's feet. And so he says, should you take him to the blacksmith? Do we need to get this blacksmith involved? And well, what is a blacksmith? A blacksmith is somebody who works with metal. So they're the ones that you might see in the kind of older movies that are heating up the metal really, really hot and then using a hammer and forcing it into a shape like a knife or a sword, or in this case, a horseshoe. So he's saying, should we go to the blacksmith? Should we get a new shoe? Because your horse has lost one. And so we also have this verb lose. And if you lose something, it means you don't have it anymore. You can't find it. It fell off, it broke, or whatever, and you cannot see it, you cannot find it, you don't have it anymore. So if you were walking and you lose a shoe, then your shoe came off. Hopefully you can just turn around and find it and then put it back on. But in this case, the horse lost the shoe at some point in the journey. They don't know where it is. It's just missing.
Okay, so it's because of that first nail was gone. Now all of the nails and the shoe are gone and lost. All right, well, let's go to Tina.
我们来看一下刚刚课文里提到的单字 later 副词后来 Jack and Mary had lunch together. Later, they went to the movies. Jack 和 Mary 一起吃了午餐，后来他们去看电影。Lose 动词遗失，它的三态是 lose, lost, lost. I couldn't find my keys. I thought I lost them. 我找不到我的钥匙，我以为我把它们弄丢了。接着我们回到课文当中。
Thanks, Tina. Okay, so the worker just asked the merchant if he would like him to take the horse to the blacksmith. The merchant answered, "Leave it alone. I only have a couple of miles left, and the horse can manage that. I'm in a hurry." Okay, so he's only got a couple of miles. That's not very far. And he says the horse can manage that, meaning the horse is able to handle that, is able to do that amount of work, even with a missing horseshoe. We also have a phrase in there which is to leave something alone. So to leave something alone means to stop interfering or disturbing something. So in this case, the meaning is that the merchant doesn't want this worker to interfere, to get involved with what he's doing. Just stop bothering with my horse. It's fine, as was what he said earlier.
Yes, and so again, we've already seen one nail turned into a missing horseshoe, so I don't know. I'm a little bit unsure if it's really going to be fine, but he thinks, it's only a couple more miles. Let's keep going. And so if we keep reading our story, it says, a while later, he got on his horse and rode away. So again, he has not stopped to try to help the horse or fix anything. He's really in a hurry, even though he keeps taking rests, but that's that's his business.
A while later.
Yes, he also waited a while later.
Spent some time there, relaxed, I guess, or maybe did some shopping. I don't know, but
didn't help his horse.
Did not help the horse. All right, well now let's go to Tina.
我们来看一下刚刚课文当中提到的3个文法重点。Leave something alone， 别管别动某事物。Leave 指的是使保持某种状态 ，alone 在这里是副词的用法。我们来看看这个例句 ：Leave the cat alone, she is sleeping。别管那只猫，它在睡觉。A couple of 几个的，一些的，后面接可数名词。A couple 指的是2个、一些。我们来看看这个例句 ：I need a couple of minutes to finish this work。我需要几分钟来完成这项工作。Get on 上马、交通工具等等，相对说法是 get off。我们来看看这个例句 ：Lucas got on his horse and rode away。Lucas 上了马，然后骑走了。接着我们回到课文当中。
So today we've seen that the merchant is continuing to ignore the problems he's having with his horse. Not only did it first lose a nail, and then eventually it's now lost the entire horseshoe. So he thinks it won't be a problem. Just a little bit longer to go should be fine.
Yeah, so he kind of says that, everything is fine. He only has a little bit of a ways to go. And then, it feels like it should be okay. But it is a story, and it is a story that's maybe going to teach us something. So I think that there's going to be something very exciting that will happen tomorrow. So how about you guys go ahead and review the story again, and then we'll see you tomorrow.
The merchant continued to ride toward his home. Then, in the afternoon, he stopped at another town and rested. He also had someone feed his horse. Later, the worker came and found him. He told the merchant, "Sir, your horse lost a shoe. Shall I take him to the blacksmith?" The merchant answered, "Leave it alone. I only have a couple of miles left, and the horse can manage that. I'm in a hurry." A while later, he got on his horse and rode away.
我们来复习一下这一课的重点单字跟文法。单字的部分 ，toward 介系词朝着、迈向 ，feed 动词喂 ，later 副词后来 ，lose 动词遗失。接着我们来看文法的部分 ，leave something alone 别管别动某事物。Do I need to mix the soup？ 我需要搅拌汤吗 ？No, just leave it alone。不用，让它那样就好。A couple of 几个的，一些的。Can I borrow a couple of dollars from you？ 我可以跟你借一些钱吗 ？Get on 上马、交通工具等。Sam needs help to get on the big bike。Sam 需要帮忙才上得去那辆大的脚踏车。以上就是这一课的重点单字跟文法，那我们下一课再见喽，拜拜。
Welcome to Which One Fits, the game where we tackle confusing English words.
I'm more than ready for this one.
Today, we're going to sort out the difference between study and learn.
But before we dive in, let's go over how the game works.
In Which One Fits, we'll read a sentence with a blank, and you have to choose between study and learn.
So join us and challenge your English intuition.
All right, here's your first sentence. She tried to blank the material again, hoping she would finally understand it. Which one fits?
That's definitely study.
Spot on! Study is the process of absorbing or familiarizing yourself with information. Next one. After a few tries, they blank the instructions needed to assemble the furniture. Which one fits?
That must be learn.
Yes, it is. Learn is the result of gaining knowledge or a skill. Great job, you nailed it. All right, time for a breakdown.
First, study is a verb that means putting in effort to understand and memorize information. For example, he studied hard for the college entrance exam so he could pass with top marks.
You often study by spending time reading, practicing, or reviewing something in order to really understand it.
Now, learn is also a verb, but it focuses on the result of gaining knowledge or a skill. For example, humans learn how to walk from a very young age.
You learn something when you can actually do it or truly understand it.
An easy way to remember it, studying is about the process. Learning is about the outcome.
Exactly. It's pretty straightforward once you see the difference.
And here's something fun. You can have both in the same sentence. She learned how to bake bread after studying recipes she'd found online.
So the more you study something, the more you'll learn about it.
Right. And now you'll never mix them up again.
Until next time, keep exploring.
Bye-bye.